hello, hello. My name is Jenna. This is 1111 with Jenna. I am here 7 days, 7 nights, 14 times a week. It is Saturday, December 3rd of 2022. Wow. What a day. What a weekend, what a week, what a month, what a year, what a life. Decade, you know the whole bit. I am delighted to be back tonight. I just spent a nice evening with the Sand Rabbits, great band, great trio, at the Chocolate Cafe, and hung out with Stacy and Maggie Girl, and then Susan Diedrich, who I've known since kindergarten. And I found out today that she wasn't there for first grade, but then we picked back up in second on through seventh. And anyway, a dear sister of ours, Judy Luther, left the planet on Thursday, and a lot of us have been connecting. So it's been intense and sad and wonderful, and the Bay Area was hit really hard this weekend too, losing a couple other people. My brain's not working so great still, but I was really happy to have spent that time today. A gentleman, musician of so many different, I met him at Michigan State many years ago, Andrew Spite, and that's how I say it, and I hope that's how it's pronounced. Was a musician and gift to the world, but lived in the Bay Area for a long time. He was at Michigan State, lived in San Francisco, from Sydney, Australia originally. And I think I posted his on the live stream, that alternative venues for jazz. And if I haven't, I need to do that. And then Fizzy Quick, my Fizzy girl. So it's just been a lot of connection with people today, and thank you for reaching out. And I'm glad that I'm connecting with you guys, and it's re-establishing friendships and opening up conversations with people that I haven't talked to in absolutely decades. But I'm happy to be here tonight with you, and I don't know who's here. Somebody's here, some people are here. And I'm just going to go live really quick. I mean, private. I'm missing my words. I'm changing the audience, and I am going to do one more quick. Nope, I don't want to do that. I went, did a lot of shopping, errands today. We did errands, lots and lots of errands in between all these phone calls and texts and emails and stuff. It's just been overwhelming and sad and really cool all at the same time. And I know that you can understand. And I'm just going to say this. Thank you for letting me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this party started. Come on, music. Mr. Gary Lambert. Hello.
Hello. Am I unmuted and audible and everything?
You're all good, brother. Hello there.
Good. Hello, dear friend.
So you're in Connecticut?
No, I'm in Yonkers, New York.
Yonkers. I moved from Connecticut to Yonkers.
Yeah, when was it? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday I said goodbye to the goats and the bunnies and the chickens and
the dog.
And the dogs, and came down here. I'm now closer to the city, which is nice, a little more convenient to the city, and settled in with some other dear and generous friends who are going to put me up or put up with me, depending on their perspective, for just a short while. The house thing is moving toward conclusion, and when I have that money in hand, I'm gonna find me a place.
And is the how is it have
Yeah,
the
I can't remember what stage we were at the last time we talked, but the contract was signed, the deposit was received. The closing date uh, in the contract says on or around December 15th, which is,
cool.
yeah,
Amazing.
and a few little bureaucratic details to deal with after that. And then so I'm expecting I'll probably be looking for the new place sometime in January, maybe for a February 1st move in.
And you're thinking Queens.
Focusing on Queens, not totally wedded to it if other opportunities come up, but Queens is it's the home, it's the heart, it's the place, and it seems viable in terms of affordability. Looking at there's a possible roommate situation, getting a two-bedroom and sharing expenses and all that. So it's I'm trying not to get too excited too fast because I know things take time, but definitely home stretch kind of thing going on.
Cool.
So that's it's amazing. It's I feel quite relieved and anticipatory and all that stuff. So the adventure continues,
Wow.
and and
So
you know
Yonkers, are you in a house?
it's like a multiple, I think, a 3 unit dwelling, not a big apartment house, but a small place with there's like a downstairs neighbor, and I think there's a some kind of professional space on the side, and it's very nice, just a cozy place, and very cozy people, old friends, one of whom I've known for going on 50 years now, since the early 70s. And
Cool.
yeah, just wonderful people, and we hang out a lot when I'm not in their house, so we
And
get we
do you make meals to, are you going to make meals together? Is it that kind of stuff?
I will definitely contribute to meals, and I'll bring up bagels from Queens because a couple of really killer bagel places in Queens. And so yeah, it's nice, and as always, I try not to disrupt their routine. They're both working from home, so they're here a lot.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it'll we're easing into it, and so far it's been, but like this is like the fourth day, and it's been really nice.
Cool.
And
What's it
and there are
like?
people.
What's the neighborhood like?
It's just a very kind of quiet residential thing, but like just a few minutes from a couple of the major highways that can get me into the city or get me back down to Queens or whatever. So convenient, and places to eat around, and it's if I just wanted to go into the city on the train, it's not too
Yeah,
far
how
from
do
the
you do
Yonkers
it?
train.
Curious.
Uh, well, I've got the car. I've been driving just incessantly since I was up in Connecticut, a lot of miles and a lot of gas. But I can also maybe opt to take a train into the city sometimes, and it's nice. Uh, a very rare neighbor. I mean, in my experience, a rare place where you can actually park your car on the street and not have to worry about moving it.
That's what I was going to ask you. Where do you get to park your car?
No alternate side of the street parking, so it's that's highly civilized. So and of course, well, back at the old house at the family home, I had a driveway I could park in, so that was never a big issue. But anyway, things are good, and I've been getting out and hearing music and stuff, and
I saw some music that you heard the other night.
with Jack and Yorma and Steven. It was so wonderful. I mean, it's such a great match. They met on Little Feat tour. Um, Steven was touring with the Little Feat Horns, which is it
Yeah.
was the Midnight Ramble horns from Levon's Barn, and Little Feat got them to work on this tour. And Hot Tuna opened a bunch of shows on the tour, and Jack and Yorma just said this
That was the first time they met?
with Steven. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And they wound up, I guess it became kind of a custom on the tour where Jack maybe it was just Yorma, but someone would come out and jam with Little Feat toward the end of the show and do some things together. And they hit it off beautifully with Steven, as who wouldn't, because he's such a mensch and so much fun to be around and such a brilliant musician. And he fits their music really well. He's like they do a lot of old, ragtime and sort of blues oriented stuff. There's some Jelly Roll Morton in their book and Reverend Gary Davis and stuff like that. And Stephen's got such an innate sense of that stuff. And then on the original tunes by Yorma, Stephen just finds beautiful parts to play. I think they're going to do it a whole lot more. They just hit it off really well.
And where was that show, the last one?
At the Capitol just last night, and which was great because the Capitol was where I first saw Jack and Yorma do Hot Tuna, and it was like in the middle of a Jefferson Airplane show, and like the rest of Jefferson Airplane left the stage to Jack and Yorma and the drummer at the time, Papa John Creech, the fiddle player, and they did this little sort of mini Hot Tuna set in the middle of the airplane show. And that was at the Capitol that I first saw that configuration like 52 years ago. And then, then I realized, oh my God, I've known Stephen for 47 of those years. And it has come together beautifully. So that's great. I look forward to what they do next. And then I saw some other of our friends on was it Wednesday night? Wednesday night I went to the Blue Note, and Bill Frisell was doing a residency there. It was like two nights each with a couple of different bands, and then a solo night. And the band I saw on Wednesday was really amazing. It's something Bill's been wanting to do for a long time, and he tried to do it a few times, and COVID got in the way. It's like both of Bill's trios. He's got these two trios, Tony Sher and Kenny Wallace.
All on stage together?
Yes, so two bass players, two drummers,
Crazy.
and Bill in the middle, and it just worked so well because each of the players have contrasting but complementary styles, and they figured both how to stay out of each other's way and engage with each other's. Like sometimes when people are trying to stay out of each other's way, it's to the detriment of the music because like they're not, after you, it's like it's all response and no call,
Isn't it?
Yeah, it can be, but it works. Bill knows these players so well that he really kind of knew how to put it together, and also because Rudy Royce is playing drums, it freed Kenny to play vibes. And I've heard him play vibes sort of very sparingly with Sex Mob, like just adding a little bit of tonal color every now and then. But here he could really, he could play the heads of the tunes and solo and comp. And so that was really beautiful too. That's like, yeah, he's incredible. And yeah, it was, so that was well, Bill never lets me down. if I go
saw a
to
photo of Will Bernard. So was that one of the nights?
Yeah,
There was a photo
Will was like one table. Will was one table over for me.
Yay.
So that was great. That was really great. So yeah, so it's nice to be a little closer to the city, and that'll increase my recreational capacities for the next few weeks until the next thing happens.
And how close to the Capitol now are you then? I'm just trying to get.
It's about 20 minutes. It's sort of the opposite end of Westchester County. Like it's this, Yonkers is toward the west, like getting close to the Hudson River, and Portchester is up as you're almost to the Connecticut border. So it was surprisingly like that. It took me almost as long to get from Portchester back to Yonkers as it did to get from Queens up to Portchester some of the time. Maybe about 10 minutes quicker, but that's nice. I'm nicely located in relation to a bunch of things.
Cool. Are there any animals in this house?
No, they had a cat who's no longer with us, but yeah, it's a nice quiet. So you won't hear poodles yapping or dachshunds yapping in the background here.
So when you were doing your show, your Sunday show, would you hear the poodles and dogs?
Every now and then. They actually located.
I never heard anything, I don't think.
No, there were no real big problems when I was doing the show from up there because I was upstairs and everyone's downstairs. Here it's all on one level, but there's no one making a lot of noise, so it should work fine.
It looks like a lovely room.
It's a lovely little room. What I'm sitting at is like kind of a nice little kind of antique-ish desk. I don't usually do the show from an actual desk, but it's nice. It's a nice little setup. So this will be the locale for, I think, at least a couple of weekends, and then we'll see what happens next. I also have an invitation, and it could be for Christmas, to go up to Cape Cod, because a couple of my very, very dear friends and also very longtime friends just bought a house up there and moved up to Sandwich, Massachusetts, which is kind of right in the middle of the Cape. So I may be up there.
Sandwich, isn't that cool? Sandwich.
Sandwich, yes, it's one of my favorite things. Well, two of my favorite things: Cape Cod and a sandwich.
So speaking of food, what have you been
Um,
enjoying lately?
let me see. Well, I've been served a couple of really nice breakfasts here. My friend Ken made some nice eggs and home fries, and I've actually, because of the nature of my last few days since I got here, I've been moving around, so I've gotten some meals out. Last night I ate a really nice little taqueria right across from the Capitol, and yeah, I've been kind of on the run, so meals have not been that big a priority. I've just been, sustenance has been
Food.
key. Yeah, it's food for food's sake.
Food to live, not live to
Yeah,
eat. Live, eat to live, not live to eat.
right. Although the latter has its charms.
A lot of fun. I know. I just, I still have our original receipt from Red Farm up on my wall right here, and I walk.
Oh, Red Farm. Oh, Red Farm.
We need to do it when I go.
Yeah,
I will
we
be
will.
there. So George Booth's memorial has been changed. We decided because it's getting, it would be challenging to get it. We were going to do it for December 11th,
Right.
and that it's just too soon.
Yeah.
So now we think it's a little bit better. We're going to do it in the spring.
Okay.
I'll
All
definitely
right.
be there in April. April
Okay.
23rd, we're going to have the memorial in Brooklyn. And
Wonderful.
yeah. And so who knows where you'll be by then? Maybe I'll get to come. We could do a live from your house.
That would be fantastic. Well, I
Um,
would think I would think by then I will be situated by then. I would certainly hope.
And are you going to Mexico?
No. Although
I
a
have a feeling that's not completely.
well, an inclined part of me that's inclined to misbehave and do stupid impulsive things did
Yeah.
think that, well, if the house money comes through before then,
Yeah.
I mean, the event in Mexico is totally sold out, but I have a feeling they can squeeze me in. I think they
Gary,
probably
no.
holds, um, we'll see if I'm not sure. I mean, I have no assurance that I will have the money in hand by then, so I really can't plan on it. But it would it wouldn't be bad to go to Mexico.
I think you should go.
Yeah. Well, if I don't go to Mexico, there's a good chance I'll make a trip to LA to see my family out there, like a little consolation trip. Um, yeah, I guess it's the last time that Dead and Co will do the Plane in the Sand thing, because they're doing the final tour. So if I ever did wind up down in Mexico for that, this would be the time.
I think it'd be a good time because you might not have a place yet.
Yeah,
Or you might be in
well,
Sandwich. You could eat
yeah,
tacos for a couple weeks in Mexico.
I could eat sandwiches in Mexico.
You could have a torta or two.
That's right.
I'm open to that idea.
Hmm.
So tomorrow, who's on your show? Speaking of,
Oh, tomorrow it's a nice show. We're having your friend Bob Braylove, and Tom
Ah,
Constantin. There's a new Dos Hermanos CD out, and I just dropped one of my ear things, so I'm going to bend down. Yeah, for those who don't know, Bob Braylove is a brilliant, brilliant on so many levels. But he came into the Grateful Dead world as a technician. He helped get some of their keyboard sounds together. He had worked for Stevie Wonder and various other people, and he somehow connected with the Grateful Dead, and he got hired to help. This was in the mid '80s. He got hired to help Brent Midland, the late Brent Midland, refine some of his keyboard sounds and get a
Is
little
that
more
where it
into.
started with Brent?
Yeah, because Brent was basically like a Hammond B3 and Fender Rhodes player, and the band just sort of wanted him to diversify his sonic palette, and Brent was not that kind of guy. He wasn't like that curious about doing that kind of stuff. So they brought in Brailov and also helped introduce the band to MIDI, and making Jerry's guitar sound like a trumpet or a baritone sax or whatever he wanted it to. And but Bob is also a fantastic musician, keyboardist, and improviser and pianist and all that. And he got together with Tom Constantin, who had played keyboards with the Grateful Dead very early on. He came on board in 1968 during the recording of Anthem of the Sun, and then he toured with the band for about a year, 69 into early 70. And he's a great musical eccentric and experimenter. He came from that scene in the Bay Area in the early 60s where people were working with electronic music a lot, and the San Francisco Tape Music Center. And so Tom's sort of the avant-garde, and Bob's pretty psychedelic. So they started this keyboard duo called Dos Hermanos. It's DOSE. Get it? And and they've done that sporadically for a number of years, and they just came back together and they did another record. So we're going to have them on. And then a thing I'm really excited about, we're having a dear friend of mine for many years, Rita Gentry, who was one of Bill Graham's assistants for years. She was in the music business for about 30 years. She worked for BGP for 20 years. Worked before BGP. She worked for the Grateful Dead, and incredible woman, one of my favorite people in the world. And then after she left BGP, she worked for 10 years for Santana. So she's been in the music business, but she compiled a book of Bill Graham stories. She got contributions, and I blew it. I didn't make the deadline. People just telling stories about Bill, just encounters they had with him, and what it was like to work for him, or what it was like to argue with him, or what it was like to be yelled at by him. And fellow musicians contributed to it, and it's really quite lovely. So the book just came out, and I'm reading it right now, and we're going to have her on the show tomorrow, so that should be great.
What would be your contribution?
I had in mind a story. This was actually, the deadline was coming up when I was going through the depths of my madness with trying to get the house, emptied out and all that. And that's kind of why I didn't get. I started trying to write something. The thing I had in mind was to convey how hilarious Bill could be, and how he could absolutely kill you with just a straight face. Like he didn't like make jokes per se, but he could say things that would, that can just conveyed the absurdity of everything. And so there was one story I wanted to tell, but that's okay. It's he was really, really funny and really smart and really engaging to be around. So I would have conveyed some of that, and at some point I will.
I like your other story. You know which story I like.
Is it the one involving Mickey Hart?
Oh, that's a good one, but it's
That's what
involving of an herb
uh
at Wolfgang's.
oh, you mean the brownies, the
No,
or
that's
no
another one. No, parsley.
the parsley. Oh, that wasn't actually at Wolfgang's. That was Bill had this parable about, like he compared what he did in the music business to, just putting those extra little details and touches. Like, he came from being a waiter.
I
So
thought it was. I thought Wolfgang's was. I thought there was a Wolfgang involved story.
no, no,
I stand
no,
corrected.
but it just spoke to Bill's, what Bill would say was like, if you give someone, if you want to serve a meal to someone, and they they want a steak. And if you had one steak and put it on a paper plate, you know, with you know, just like put it in front of the person, you know, with no real flourish. Or if you took that plate and served that steak and served it on good china, and you know, with really nice linen napkins, and put a little sprig of parsley on there, that steak was going to taste better to people just because of the presentation. And so Bill said, you know, what we do that makes us different from every other concert promoter is we put the parsley on the plate. And that was extremely true of Bill. So so the parsley thing was kind of a, you know.
So I'm putting two conversations together. So the brownies is the other story there. You know, both of my Bill Graham stories revolve around food.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, sure. Yeah. I know one of those too. With involving your dad and food, right?
Mm-hmm. My
Yeah.
dad and Jerry, and then the other time was Santana was playing at the Greek,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at the show, and I was sitting in the section where the guests were,
Mm-hmm.
kind of up what like where um the throne chairs are, but then up a little bit to the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bill was sitting there, and I always resonated with him, and he knew who I was, and just because he reminded me of my dad, they looked alike. When they first met, they kind of went,
Hmm.
"Hi."
Yeah.
And so we were there, and he went backstage and came out with two trays full of food.
Right.
Huge tray. I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, he was a waiter, and he came
Mhm.
out from I mean, you guys are talking Greek theater. I don't know how big is the Greek theater?
I think about 8,500 capacity, something like that.
10.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're all there. Everybody's just kind of hanging out, doing whatever we did to get to where we needed to be. And he
Hmm.
walks out with these massive food trays and just starts passing food around to everybody.
Right. Right. Yeah. Bill was, you know, he considered himself a host, you know.
But
he,
he was
he was,
hosting us at the Greek theater.
yeah, you know, and no matter how big he got, like he'd walk around the venue before the doors opened and make sure that every detail was in place. Now he had incredibly competent people doing that for him, but Bill was so hands-on that, you know, and he would drive us crazy because he'd like, you know, he'd say, was this done? Was this done? Was this? Yes, Bill. Yes, Bill. Yes, Bill. You know, that's what made him great.
But that's how you came up with your production company.
Oh, well, yeah, Parsley Productions was, yeah, was an idea, you know, for that. And then, you know, Bill died on October 25th. And a few days later, the Grateful Dead were playing Halloween. And, you know, we really need to get ourselves up to get in the mood. So I went out and bought many sprigs of parsley and adorned myself in like sprigs of parsley. And I had a t-shirt made that said, "Remember the parsley." Yeah. And I wore that also to the memorial in Golden Gate Park. And some people would, you know, like strangers say, "Remember the parsley." But whenever a BGP person saw it, they said, "Right on." Yeah, they all got it, you know. In fact, David Graham saw me backstage at the Dead show with parsley dripping from, like, you know, every bit of my garments, and the Remember the Parsley shirt. And he just like, you know, came over and gave me the biggest hug because that was, you know, that was his dad's thing, you know, serving the parsley.
Maybe through this book, she might do a part two
It's possible. There's certainly enough stories.
of
I
stories.
mean, this is a big book. It's like 400 pages. It's like, you know, she got so many people to
What's the
contribute.
name of the book?
It's called Before I Forget, which is something Bill often said.
That reminds me of my friend Al Bendick, the late great Al Bendick. He would say
Mhm.
when he was an attorney, and he'd get up and he'd say, "This will only take a minute.
Right,
This
right,
will only take a minute."
right.
So
Bill, one of my
he worked.
one of my favorite things that Bill started sentences with when he was in kind of a combatic or argumentative mood, he'd say, "Correct me if I'm wrong." And what that meant was he's not wrong. And, and if he is, don't you dare correct him.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're just newly in this place and I don't want to
Hmm.
I mean, we can hang out as long as you want, or we can.
Yeah, we always talk about, oh, let's do a shorter show tonight, and then we wound up, doing this for like 45 minutes or an hour or whatever. I am
Have
a
you been
little
watching?
tired to,
Okay.
huh?
One thing.
Oh,
Have you watched anything lately that it's a must see?
I'm trying to think. I sort of cut down on my binging, because things got really busy. So I haven't. I've been watching a little of Abbott Elementary, which is a lovely little show. It's an actual network comedy show on ABC, but now it's streaming whole seasons of it, and it's about an inner city school in Philadelphia and a young, very idealistic and very naive teacher, and her dealing with the more hardened kind of, combat veteran teachers, and the bureaucrats, just trying to get this school better. And it's very sweet. It's got a nice heart to it.
Abbott
Um,
Elementary on ABC.
Abbott Elementary. It actually I think it won the Emmy for best comedy series this past year. I can't or it won a lot of Emmys anyway.
I could use
Um,
humor. I like humor.
yeah, it's humorous, and it's also very sweet, and kind of uplifting. Uh, and there's something I'm about to watch. I may watch it, maybe not tonight if I go to bed a little early. Um, but Netflix just started running a documentary called Senior, and it was made by Robert Downey Jr. about his father, Robert Downey Sr., who was a great iconoclastic, hilarious, sort of avant-garde filmmaker.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, Most of his career was in the 60s and early 70s. He made one of my favorite movies of all time, Putney Swope. If anyone out there has seen Putney Swope, they can back me up on this. Putney Swope, it was in the era of, Black liberation and the Black Panthers and all kinds of like intense, racial tension, and the uh the story of Putney Swope is, I'm not giving too much away, but the story of Putney Swope is, this guy named Putney Swope is the token Black person in a Madison Avenue advertising firm, and the founder of the firm dies, and so the board holds a vote, and every white guy on the board votes for Putney Swope because they figured no one else would. So he becomes chairman of the board.
Oh, how cool!
And it becomes this militant Black run advertising agency, and it's hilarious. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. So yeah, Putney Swope. So Robert Downey Jr., who actually I think had a very difficult relationship with his father, and they were estranged for years and years, and then they got close again toward the end, decided to make a documentary about his dad.
Wow.
And yeah, it's so I can't
Senior.
wait to see it. It's called Senior, just SR period.
I love Robert Downey Jr. Have you ever met him?
He's
Do you have a?
I haven't. I haven't. I'm a big fan. Um, and yeah, he came, he really kind of went through hell. He had like a very, very bad addiction problem. And, you know, uh, it was assumed his career was over. And then he made this spectacular comeback, and he's Mr. Action Hero and all that. And he seems like a really, really amazing guy.
He
So
does.
yeah.
I want to believe that too. Thanks for all the likes and the loves and the hearts. My little people, the little like love. They're these little.
Mhm.
They look like Campbell's soup people now. Then they have glasses on. It's very strange.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know
Oh,
where.
Julie Luce wants to know how the couch is doing. The couch is still in its storage space. The couch. Once I got the couch moved, I realized this thing really needs some repairs. I mean, under the slip covers, which were the facade of the couch. This thing's in pretty funky shape. So, I may put a little money into getting it fixed up a bit. Yeah,
It's
it could
and you have
adorn
to
the new home.
whatever the new home is, it has to the couch has to
The couch
fit.
has to be there. The couch has to make the transfer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I believe. I believe.
Yeah,
I
but
don't have a couch up here. I think about that couch and go, I'm moving things right now in my space. So
mhm.
I'm pretending that I have this big space, but I just move things. I like to move things.
Right. Yeah, it's good to make these little little shifts in the flow of a room. And yeah, I like to experiment a little with that kind of stuff.
What about next Saturday night? What do you have going next weekend?
Well, I will still be in the Yonkers residency, and I have found a cozy little spot here. So unless I am doing something that has me out very late, I would imagine that I will be appearing on that most critically acclaimed of Facebook series, 11:11 with Jenna.
Thanks for the yeah, because Saturday nights are one more Saturday night with Gary Lambert on 11
That's
11.
right. That's right. I am proud to be part of that tradition. And we missed a few, and it was strange. It was strange not to be with you on Saturday night.
And I always kind of figure out what day it is based on what's happening or what I've just done.
Uh,
I go, okay, it was Oh, yeah, it's Saturday because Gary was here last night.
yeah, basically the only anchors that my weeks have are the radio. I know the radio shows on Sunday, and I know 11:11 is on Saturday. So, that's how I calibrate my weeks. Otherwise, I would be completely unmoored from the calendar.
Are you a calendar guy?
I'm not a very strict calendar guy, and I can really lose track of what day it is, or because I haven't had a routine for a very long time. And even in the, working in the music business, when I was working in live music, a show would happen on a Tuesday, or a show would happen on a Saturday, or a show would happen on a Friday. Yeah. So you have to kind of remember what's coming up and when through some other means than a 9 to 5 schedule.
I totally dig.
Mm-hmm.
Totally dig. All right, well, we could, we could say goodnight and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think there's
Well,
any other questions. Thanks for the couch update and
yes,
senior.
always happy to give a couch update. The
Oh,
senior, yes.
what about I ask you this every couple weeks about
Mhm.
going back into the studio, or are we gonna, is it?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I think they are very cautious about it. I'm sure, I mean, because people are still getting the thing. And
Well, it's getting
they,
worse again. That's actually why
yeah,
we postponed
yeah,
the memorial because COVID
yeah,
is up
because
in
yeah,
New York
it's
and on the West Coast in the LA.
right. Now, people have said winter could really increase the risk, plus all the
Thanksgiving.
other all the other things you can get in the winter. So yeah, I mean, I think they're being very cautious, and they also, because of the nature of there being like a 45 floor office building involved, they may not be completely in control of the situation. So there are some people who are, absolutely essential to the operation at at the Rockefeller Center place, who are there. But they do not want a full capacity office going on, or full capacity studios. So the way I'm doing it now has been fine for like 2.5 years now,
Right,
and
right.
I'm used to it, and it's the easiest commute in the world from from the bed to the couch. So it's I'm fine with it. And if they want me to go back and do it, I'll go back and do it. But it's okay.
Mark Ruffin even moved to Florida.
Hmm.
The head of the jazz, he does the jazz
Oh,
program.
right, right,
And
right,
he's
right.
not even in living in New York anymore. And he had an office and a studio at Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Yeah, that's
And
right. That's right.
now in
Yeah,
Florida.
I mean, what I have here, I can show you. This is my studio, a little suitcase, and it's got this little box, and you plug the box into a router with an Ethernet cable, and it sounds indistinguishable from being in a studio. It's pretty cool.
So that's how you and David sound like you're sitting next to each other.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like we're in the same room. Meanwhile, our engineer is in Nashville, and whoever is screening our calls can be any number of places, and
And
they're
where did the
all
calls go into?
the calls. Everything's been being executed on laptops. Yeah, everybody, there's this program that's that the incoming calls get routed from, I guess, from wherever the engineer is working to the computer of the person who's the phone screener answering the phones, and it's all, hitting little buttons. And what the engineers have is a desktop, a virtual replica of, like, what you'd see in a radio station, a mixing console with faders, virtual faders. And it's pretty astonishing that it works at all, and it generally works pretty smoothly. So, yay technology in that case.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So cool. That's really cool.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to go take a bath.
Oh, that's lovely. I was taking baths a lot in Connecticut, because one part of the house had a shower, but the bathroom most convenient to me was just a bathtub, and so I took some very lovely baths.
Yeah, it's yesterday it was about 60 degrees here,
Hmm.
and today it got that kind of cold that you can never warm up to.
Yes, it just feels it totally permeates you. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
windy and it's cold and there's no snow, there's no ice, there's just
Hmm.
like it you look out and you go, "Wow, it's beautiful and sunny." And then I walk outside. I was going to go for a walk. I go, "I'm not going for a walk.
Yeah,
I walk every
yeah,
day, 10, 15,000 steps. I'm not going for a walk. I'm staying
yeah.
in."
There are some days when your best friend in the universe is a blanket. You just don't want. I will stay in bed for as long as I can eat, even though I'm wide awake. I will stay with the blankets on, and read in bed or watch TV in bed or whatever, because
What kind of
it's.
blanket? What do you like?
Oh, well, as a guest of other people, I just take what I'm given.
Oh, so you
Uh,
don't travel with your blankets.
no, no, they they
Use
they
their
are.
blankets. Okay.
It's a fully equipped. I have, I do have now in the storage space some really nice comforter kind of things, and you know, uh, I don't have like a blanket of choice. I will take any blanket that keeps me warm.
I have preferred blankets. I even
You
in my
prefer
car
blanket?
I keep a
Yeah, yeah. It's good to just.
blanket. My own like comfy. I have like a sleeping bag kind of thing that I
Yes.
get
Yeah.
in a sack.
I've always liked the word swaddled. I like to be swaddled.
I like to be swaddled too, but I'm not big on the uh the weighted blanket. Have you
I don't think I've ever used one. So I don't have it. I know people are crazy about it, and other people are not that crazy about it. But I have
like
no
this?
experience.
You go like, okay, I'm I feel
Yeah,
safe. No, I feel like I'm being squashed.
yeah. I like things that are provide warmth and provide insulation, but don't weigh you down. I
Are
think I
you
think
a
I wouldn't be a.
wool guy? Or are you more
Uh,
velour?
uh, I mean, we used to have my folks had some beautiful down comforters, but they were kind of puffy and nice, and yeah, I don't really care whether it's wool or velour or anything like that. Not itchy. You don't want an itchy blanket.
No. I can do the wool blanket on top of other stuff. But I like the
Exactly.
down. I find though that
A
I'm
little
a little
allergic.
allergic to the
Yeah,
down. Yeah.
yeah. It's not a good thing. I'm blessedly allergy free, so they've never
Are
bothered
you
me
no
whatsoever.
allergies?
I have no major allergies that I know of. Yeah, I've been very fortunate in that regard.
I adore you. I have so much
Well,
fun with you.
it's so mutual.
When are we going to see each other? So maybe not till the spring, unless you come up to the Bay Area. If you
And
come
you happen to be there. Yeah,
Northern California, like when you come out, on
yeah.
your way back from Mexico
Mhm. Oh, I see. You made this plan for me already.
in January, when you're in Mexico,
Hmm.
then you might come to LA
Yeah.
and then maybe a little NorCal action and you can come up to the ranch.
Okay.
To,
Well, we'll see. We will see each other. We'll see each other before the spring. I have a feeling.
I hope so. And then
Yeah.
I want to go to a show with you this summer. I'm reserving.
Okay. All right.
I'm calling it. 58 and raining in Fresno right now. Merced, Fresno. I know it was raining up in Northern California and
Yeah. Yeah. They were people were thrilled with the rain in Northern California. Yeah. We've had very little so far. It's been mostly snowless around here, New England and all that, but that'll come soon, I guess.
Well, I was prepared. I bought a new coat. Lisa, if
Hmm.
you're still here, I bought a coat on clearance. I know we talked about coats last week. This
Yes.
coat has this like reflective inside thing, so it's supposed to be warm. I put it
Mhm.
on the other day. The zipper doesn't work.
Oh, that's
Brand
so
new coat,
sad.
brand
That
new.
is
And I'm
very
like,
sad.
I kept going. And then I
Oh
went,
man.
it's sort of like you put on a pair of shoes and you
Hmm.
go, I think they're comfortable.
Right. And then you walk around them in the store, and but when you get home, something's a little off. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I have expounded on my deep passion for the Land's End squall parka.
You might have to
And
get a squall parka.
squall parka is it's miraculous because it's not bulky or heavy, and it's so toasty.
It's the good New York winter coat.
Yes, it's perfect for New York in winter.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm off for my bath.
Have a wonderful, luxurious, nurturing bath.
Thank you. Thank you. It is Saturday, December 3rd at 11:59.
It is. So it's almost Sunday, December 4th.
So I'll see you next week.
You will. I'm almost certain. And I love you.
I love you too. Gary Lambert, everybody.
Love you, 1111 fam.
I love you. Yeah, it's raining in Lakeport as we speak.
All
That's a
right.
good thing.
All right.
Love hard.
Real hard. Good night, everyone.